this webinar is being recorded, just so you're aware, and it will be posted, as I told the others, to the district YouTube page. So anybody that doesn't want to have their video or something on, please be aware that this is being recorded. So just keep your camera off if you don't need it on. That's fine. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of doing a time machine backup, there's a couple of things I want to mention to make sure that you are aware of before you do this. It's best to have a portable hard drive or something, or a flash drive that's got enough storage on it that doesn't have anything on it the first time you do a backup. It should just take up enough space for the backup. It's not supposed to erase everything else on that hard drive, but it does happen sometimes. So just to be on the safe side, you're going to want to make sure that you have something that does not have other stuff on it at that time, just in case it happens to erase everything on there. Like I said, it's not supposed to, but sometimes things happen with these things and you end up losing the data that's on there. So just make sure that you have a backup medium, either a hard drive or a flash drive or something that doesn't have anything else on it at that time. The other thing to keep in mind is the size of your backup device. These MacBook Airs have 128 gigabyte SSDs, so whatever you use for Time Machine has to have at least that for capacity. So there are flash drives that have 128 gigabytes, 256 gigabytes, 512 gigabytes, that kind of thing. Of course, there's portable hard drives and things of that nature. Just make sure that you're not trying to do it on like a 32 gigabyte flash drive or something. Make sure you've got at least 128 gigabytes of space. And the third thing that I'd like to mention before we get into it is when you go to move everything over from a Time Machine backup, if you just do, if you start the computer up and you say restore from a backup, it's going to move everything, settings, operating system, everything. So if you've backed it up from an operating system that's 2 or 3 versions behind, and then we've gone in and updated your machine to the current one, and then you do the Time Machine backup, it will revert it back to that old one. I will show you in this training how to move just the files and folders over from your Time Machine backup and not have to have everything reset to where it was for that. Are there any questions before we get started? Probably a lot of your questions will be answered as we go through the training, but if there's anything specific that you have right now, is there anything that I could help you with? Any questions right now? Okay, great. I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and we're going to go through the process of setting up a Time Machine backup. And let's see if this is the right one. It can be. I can minimize it. Okay. All right. So over here we have the Time Machine part of the hard drive that I'm using. I've already got a hard drive that I've partitioned to several different partitions. You could do that at the beginning if you have like a 2 terabyte hard drive and you only want to set aside enough room for your Time Machine backup on one partition. You can go in and partition it. That's something I could help you with at a later date. We're just going to focus on Time Machine right now and not get off into the weeds too much. But if it's something that you'd like help with repartitioning a hard drive, you can certainly reach out to us and we can help you with that. So if you go to, I have system preferences down here as a shortcut already. You might not have that on yours, but you can get to it from the Apple. Just go up to the Apple on the top left and go to system preferences. Time Machine is located in this bottom group here.
Hey, Jared.
So we're going to click on that, and it's going to take us to the Time Machine settings.
I'm not seeing the screen.
No, your screen.
I've already got a disk selected, but when you go to select disk, it will bring up the options for disks that you could use for a Time Machine backup.
I'm not seeing any of that.
You guys see my screen? Is it
Oh.
saying that sharing's been resumed? I don't know why.
It's frozen.
Has been pause. Hold on a second.
Your screen is frozen on mine.
It's frozen on mine too.
Can you see it yet? Nope, still can't see it. Okay.
I can see it, but it's frozen.
Well then, let's try a new share. See what happens with that. Ah, maybe this is what I need to share. Hold on.
That's better.
Okay, are you able to see that now?
Yes.
Okay, I guess I was sharing the wrong screen. So let me go over how to get to where we were again, since I wasn't sharing the correct one. And there it goes, isn't it? Hold on a second, technical difficulties. Can you see where I am now with all of the hard drives listed there? Okay, now we're on the right screen. So as I said before, system preferences can be found up with the Apple menu. And if you go to system preferences, the time machine settings are right here at the bottom. So we're gonna click on that. And then it's gonna take us here. If you want to set it so that every time you plug that hard drive or that flash drive in, it backs up your computer, you can select backup automatically. Otherwise, you'll go up here, and I'll show you that in a moment, to back up now when you want to back it up. So to select a disk, you just go to select disk, and it's gonna bring up all of the disks that are available to use for your time machine backup. As I was saying originally, make sure that it's something that has at least 128 gigabytes on it. Most of you probably don't have that much space on your SSDs that you're using right now, but that's the capacity of these MacBooks. So you want to make sure that you've got at least that much space on what you're backing up to. And then you're going to choose the disk that you're going to use. I've already chosen one. I've already been using this one. So I'm not going to, if I click something now, it's going to remove it, and I don't want to do that. So that's to set up your disk for Time Machine. This tells you everything that's done with your Time Machine backups. So what it does is local snapshots as space permits. A snapshot is a picture of what your computer looks like at that moment. So everything that you have on it, any pictures, files, apps, settings, all of that stuff, it's a snapshot of that, and that's preserved. And hourly backups are done when you have it set up to do it automatically. It does it every hour. So what it does is it doesn't back up your whole system. It backs up any changes that were made within that hour. So if you've got a disk that's connected to it pretty much all the time, it's going to constantly back up all the changes that you make. It'll also do daily backups for the past month. The daily backup is a full, complete backup of your entire system. And it will do that. It holds those for the past month. The hourly backups are held for the past 24 hours. And again, I'll show you what all this looks like when we're finished here. And then it does weekly backups for all previous months. So it does keep weekly backups. If you find that you're running out of space on your Time Machine backup, you may need to delete what's on there and then make that partition a little bit bigger to give yourself more space. Again, we can talk about partitioning at a later time so that you can hold more of those backups. But Time Machine does try to delete older backups when the disk becomes full. So as you reach the capacity that you've got set for whatever partition your Time Machine backup is on, it will delete the oldest backups to make room for the newer ones. Just so you're aware, it does not keep things indefinitely. I usually like to show the Time Machine in the menu bar, which is up here. So it's easy access to it when I plug the disk in. Then I can make sure that I have easy access to that. There are some options. These are some things that you can choose to not back up. Everything that's listed in here, these drives will not be backed up with my Time Machine backup. And I don't want them to be because they take up too much room. So you can select whatever. If you wanted to add something that you don't want to be included in the backup, you would push the plus button and you could put whatever drives that you have or anything like that that you don't want to be backed up. let's say that on this storage drive, I wanted some things backed up, but not everything. As soon as it loads everything that's on there, I could go through and select the different things that I didn't want backed up. And so it would back up everything else that's on that drive. And then when you hit exclude, that's what tells it, this is the stuff that I want to not back up. That's taking forever to load. We're just going to cancel that one. You can select to back up while on battery power if you would like. I would not recommend it. Usually it's recommended to back up while you're plugged in. Just in case, you don't want your computer to die when you're halfway through a backup. Then you're going to lose whatever was not backed up. So, I mean, it's not going to be erased off your machine, but it's not going to be a part of your backup. So in order to do a complete backup, make sure that you're plugged in. You can also exclude system files and applications if you would like, so that it doesn't take up as much room. If you find that you just want to back up all of your files and folders, then you can exclude the system files and applications, and it's just going to back up your documents and files and folders.
Jared, can you just...
So those are the options that you have, the settings that you have in there. Any questions so far?
Yeah, what exactly, like system applications, give me an example of that. Like, what would that be?
Danielle, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Okay. I'm just like, what system applications, give me an example of what that would be.
So system applications is everything that's used, like FaceTime is a system application. The operating system itself, pages, numbers, those apps that come with the system are system applications.
Okay, I'm just trying to think of what would be ideal. What do I absolutely need to back up?
Yep, and in this instance where we're going to be updating to a new operating system, it might make sense to exclude the system files and applications, and then you're just going to have the files, folders, and documents that you have.
Okay.
It's going to make it faster to back it up. It's going to make it faster to recover it, and it's going to take up less room on whatever you're using to back it up to. So my recommendation for this instance that we're talking about would be to exclude the system files and applications, because that's all going to be put on when we install the operating system.
Okay, and another question, usually Hope has me back things up to Drive.
Yep.
So should I do this in addition to backing things up?
I always recommend at least 2 backups. I'm pretty fanatical about it. I have 3 backups of all my personal stuff, because backups can get corrupted as well. So yes, it's not a bad idea to back up a couple of different places. One of those places being in the cloud, like Google Drive or iCloud or something. One of them being on a physical hard drive or flash drive.
Okay.
And then a third option for whatever you choose. But
okay, all right, thank you.
Yep, that's definitely recommended. So that's the settings for setting up your disk to use TimeMachine. Now, I've already done a backup of mine, so I'm going to go into the app up here, and it's going to show you when your latest backup was. I actually need to back mine up because January 1st was the last one that I backed up. So I can hit backup now, and that will start the backup process. You can back up in the background. So if you're running a TimeMachine backup, you can still do Zoom calls. You can still work on stuff, documents on your computer. You can still use apps. It will run in the background. And it's live, so it will, if you make changes to a document, it'll back up those changes as well. So it can run in the background, so you don't have to worry about having the time to do it. Just set it and keep working, and that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is enter TimeMachine, and it's going to show you what TimeMachine looks like when you've got it done. Can you guys see all these different screens here that are going back? Okay, so this one right here would be the latest one. This is everything that's on the desktop, but I can go back as far as, like, this is my SSD right now for this computer, and this is everything that's on that SSD. If I go into users, here's the IT admin user that's on everybody's computers. Here's my personal account on here, and here's anything shared. There's not a whole lot that's shared right now, so you're not going to find a whole lot in there. But if I go to mine, then it's going to pull up everything that's on my computer, applications, desktop, documents, downloads, iCloud Drive, if you have anything backed up there, pictures, music, movies, everything's going to be right there. So if I wanted to just get one file, let's see if what we have in documents here. I'll go on the desktop because I keep most of my stuff on the desktop. So if I wanted to, I'll go to miscellaneous. I have a lot of stuff in here. So if I wanted to pull up this right here, 5 ways districts can, I forget what that one's about, but it's a PDF about what districts can do. I think it's for distance learning, but then I would click on it. And this is what it would be. And it's not giving me the option to restore it, but it should. But one of the easiest ways to do it, I'm just going to copy it and then cancel this, and then I'm going to paste it to right here. And it's pasted it down here. I don't know, can you guys see that, or is your camera in the way? I'll move it. But there it is right there. So I just pulled it off of that Time Machine backup and I just put it right on my desktop. So now I have access to it on my regular machine. As you go in to Time Machine, I don't know if you saw on the right-hand side, there was like a timeline. So each one of these is a spot that I can go to. I can jump right to Thursday, November 7th and pull off everything that was on here on Thursday, November 7th. I can go as far back as that goes. I can go to Wednesday, January 1st, which was the last backup that I had, or I can go to right now if I've done any more recent backups. So you can move through the timeline, but you can also move through the top on here if you want to cycle through and find something that's been missing. Let's say you deleted something from your desktop and you emptied your trash, but you're like, oh crap, I need that. So you can go back into Time Machine here and find a copy of your system that's got that on it, and then copy and paste it to your current desktop, and you'll have that file back.
Jared, I
Yeah.
have a question.
Yeah.
So when you start the Time Machine, will it just go through and back everything up?
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about right now going through, and if you're looking for something that you backed up.
Right, to pull
Doing
something
search.
off of your backup, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
But once you go into the top, that icon, and you hit the backup,
Yeah, if I were just
that's what we
do
need to do.
backup now,
Yep.
it would start backing it up.
And you have your flash drive in, and you're good to go.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't have a disk selected, it's going to tell you I can't back up. I mean, well, honestly, that's probably not even going to be available. If there's no disk selected for your Time Machine backup, you won't be able to back up. So that won't
Okay.
even.
And your disk is the flash drive in my case.
If you have a flash drive, yes.
Right.
Yep. And it will rename it when you set it up. It's going to look like this. It will give it that icon and it will rename it Time Machine.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
And other than the flash drive, is there another method that you would recommend, or is the flash drive the way that you're?
I would recommend a portable hard drive just because there's more space on there. You can use it for other things other than your Time Machine backups. And there's plenty of space, so that if you find that you're not getting enough backups on there and you want to go back further and have more backups on there, you can always enlarge that partition, that Time Machine.
Is a portable drive, is that like what the CD, DVD external hard drives look like?
Like this. This is
Okay,
an
yeah,
external hard
that's
drive.
what
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as I said, when you go to restore, because we're going to be doing new operating systems on all of these, I would recommend that you do the backup without the system preferences. I mean, without the system apps, just to make it quicker and easier to move it and then to move everything back. But going forward, once you've gotten that done, if you want to do, I would recommend a backup be done at least once a week. I know mine's been since January, but it's because these things can crash sometimes. I don't know if you've ever had one crash on you, but MacBooks can crash. And if you don't have things in either Google Drive or on a Time Machine backup, then you could lose whatever you've got on there. Apps you can always reinstall, programs can always be re-downloaded, but all of your documents and pictures and stuff are going to be gone. So I certainly recommend that you back up once a week, if not once a month, just to make sure that you're not losing a lot if something happens to your device. And that's a basic tutorial. Time Machine is really quite simple once you have learned all the ins and outs of it like that. It's easy to set up. It's very intuitive, which is one of the good things about it, which is why we recommend it. Plus it's free with all Macs. So free is always good. And it's easy to recover files and things like that. So are there any questions that anybody has?
Nope.
About this?
Thank you.
Okay, you guys all set then?
Yep.
Perhaps I'll have questions once I get into it, but
Yeah, and that's fine. And we are certainly here to help as a tech team. All of us have worked with Time Machine for years, so anyone on the tech team can help you with these things.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I did.
Thank you.
I did send out a sign-up sheet for when you guys want to turn your laptops in. You should have gotten that email by now. So just
I had already contacted Hope. So do you want me to sign up also?
Yes, please still sign up. Just so we can all keep track of what's going on. Yeah, because I need to make sure that I have people at those schools when people are wanting to turn stuff in. So
perfect. Thank you.
all right. Have a great day, everybody.